Marissa Holloway never raised suspicions. The 44-year-old single mother from Columbus, Ohio, had a reputation in the eldercare community as attentive, compassionate, and trustworthy. She worked independently, offering 24-hour in-home care to elderly individuals with chronic health conditions. She wasn't the cheapest option, but for peace of mind, most families didn't mind paying more. Her patients adored her. Her reviews online were glowing. But behind the smile and the soft voice lay a deeply sinister agenda. By the time authorities began piecing it all together, 5 patients were dead, 2 others barely escaped, and over $2 million in life insurance payouts had gone into Marissa's bank account. The twisted truth was this: Marissa had been slowly poisoning her clients using tampered 4 bags, all while positioning herself as a beneficiary on their life insurance policies. This story starts with the death of Eleanor Whitman. Eleanor was 83 years old, a retired librarian with no children and only a niece, Gail, living in Oregon. After a fall left Eleanor unable to walk unassisted, her neighbor recommended Marissa. Within 2 months of moving in, Marissa convinced Eleanor to sign over power of attorney and take out a small life insurance policy, with Marissa named as a co-beneficiary, allegedly to cover funeral costs. It didn't feel weird at first, Gail later told investigators. I mean, Eleanor spoke so highly of her. Said she felt like she had family again. 6 weeks after signing the policy, Eleanor died. According to the autopsy, she succumbed to acute cardiac failure. Her primary physician was baffled. Eleanor's heart had been strong, her vitals steady. Marissa was present during the death and calmly reported Eleanor had simply slumped in her chair while watching TV. The insurance company paid out $250,000. Gail received her share. Marissa, too, quietly pocketed her half. That could have been the end of it. But the bodies began to pile up. Next was Fred Malone, a retired trucker with early-stage dementia. He'd hired Marissa after his daughter moved out of state. Like with Eleanor, Marissa became his sole caretaker within weeks. She set up a feeding tube for Fred, saying his ability to swallow had deteriorated. His doctor wasn't informed. It wasn't standard procedure, but Fred's mental state made it hard to question. Fred lasted 4 months. His death, again, was sudden. He'd gone into cardiac arrest. Marissa said it must have been God's timing. Fred's son, Randy, flew in for the funeral. He found it odd that Fred had a new life insurance policy, with Marissa listed as the beneficiary. Randy was furious. He called the insurance company, but they confirmed the policy was legally binding. She played him, Randy later said in an interview. And none of us knew until it was too late. Between 2018 and 2022, Marissa cycled through 12 patients. Of those 12, 5 died under her care. 7 were elderly, 4 had mild cognitive decline, and 1 had late-stage cancer. All signed policies that named Marissa as a partial or full beneficiary. By the time Marissa took in Walter Greaves, she was confident, practiced, and most of all, greedy. Walter was different. The 79-year-old former cop had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. His daughter, Claire, a nurse in Cincinnati, visited often. Walter's son, Devin, was a quiet type but skeptical from the start. She was too nice, Devin said. It felt fake, like overcompensating. Claire grew alarmed when Walter's condition began to deteriorate. He'd been stable for years, then suddenly became sluggish, weak, and disoriented. When Claire confronted Marissa, she claimed Walter's medications were to blame. Claire asked to see the dosage logs. They were incomplete. Dates were missing. Claire pressed harder. Marissa brushed it off. One night, Claire noticed the 4-bag feeding into her father's line looked cloudy. She removed it and sent it to a colleague at her hospital. The results changed everything. The bag contained traces of digoxin and insulin, substances that, in the wrong doses, can cause heart failure. Claire contacted the authorities. Detective Ray Tullman from the Columbus Police Department took the case. He met with Claire, reviewed the findings, and obtained a warrant to search Marissa's home. What they found was chilling. In her fridge were unmarked 4 bags and vials of insulin. In a drawer beside her bed were photocopies of multiple life insurance policies. She had documents with patients' names, signatures, some forged, listing her as the beneficiary. Worse still, there were detailed notes. Increased dose next week, he's not ready yet. Need to be subtle, cloudy bag raised suspicion. Claire is a problem. In one notebook, a twisted pattern emerged. Marissa would identify lonely patients with minimal family support, slowly earn their trust, then manipulate them into signing over policies. Once the paperwork was in order, she'd begin administering fatal doses over weeks. The method was brilliant in its simplicity. Elderly patients often die of heart failure. Few families question it. Marissa relied on this. She called it the perfect storm in one of her entries. Marissa was arrested in May 2022. The trial began 6 months later. The prosecution presented their case: 5 deaths tied to her care, $2.1 million in payouts, and mountains of physical evidence. Marissa's defense argued she was overworked, misunderstood, and the real blame lay with a broken healthcare system. Her lawyers claimed the patients died of natural causes, and the insurance policies were acts of kindness. But the jury didn't buy it. It took them just 3 hours to find her guilty on all counts: murder, fraud, elder abuse, and falsifying documents. She was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. The story made national headlines. News networks called her the 4 Killer. True crime podcasts exploded with theories. Her face was on every paper, her story on every blog. Some wondered how many other victims hadn't been discovered. The total might never be known. Marissa, in prison, remains mostly silent. She refused interviews. But one guard reportedly overheard her say, "They trusted me. That was their mistake." Families of victims joined forces to advocate for tighter regulations on private caregivers and life insurance policy oversight. A new law in Ohio, called Eleanor's Law, now requires state registration and routine checks for all private caregivers handling controlled substances or managing for equipment. What detectives uncovered during the follow-up investigation sent chills down their spines. Marissa Holloway had no nursing license. She had faked her credentials using forged documents printed from an online template and claimed to be a registered nurse. No background check had ever been performed. Her LinkedIn profile was filled with lies: a degree from a non-existent nursing college, false certifications in palliative care, even a made-up internship at a major hospital. No one had verified anything. Claire Greaves later testified, "We trusted her because she wore scrubs and carried a clipboard. That's all it took." 2 survivors came forward after Marissa's arrest. One of them, Edna Morgan, 76, had fired Marissa just 2 weeks before the arrest. She'd started pushing for me to get this new insurance policy. Said it was smart to prepare for the future. I told her I wasn't planning to die anytime soon. Her face changed when I said that, like she was disappointed. Another survivor, Greg Thomas, 81, had noticed his medications smelled odd. "I ain't stupid," he told a local reporter. "She was mixing things up. I started dumping the bags and pretending I used them. Saved my own damn life." Court psychologists diagnosed Marissa with antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic traits. She showed no remorse, no empathy for the victims. During the trial, she smirked when the prosecution showed photos of the deceased. "She didn't cry once," said reporter Nina Hargrove, who covered every day of the trial. "Not even when their families gave statements." The psychologist's report read, "Subject exhibits manipulative behaviors, a pattern of calculated deceit, and a chilling ability to perform nurturing duties while committing slow homicide." In prison, Marissa has become a pariah. Other inmates avoid her. She reportedly stares at the wall for hours, rarely speaking. Guards say she organizes her food into precise lines before eating. One officer described her as creepily calm. A recent tip from a former inmate suggests Marissa may have kept trophies, small items from each patient. The investigation into that is still ongoing. Her story has inspired documentaries, true crime books, and new protocols across Ohio. As one detective put it, she weaponized kindness. And for 5 families, the betrayal will haunt them forever. If you enjoyed this chilling true crime story, don't forget to join the CrimeBot Chronicles family. There's plenty more true crime stories, mystery and suspense waiting for you. Stay curious and stay safe. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss a chilling case. Comment your thought, share this story to keep others aware. Evil often hides behind a smile,